Well, hello everybody and welcome to our live stream today. My name is Steve Lowell and we are streaming today as we do every time across multiple platforms. We're streaming to you on LinkedIn, we're streaming to you on Facebook, and we're streaming to you on YouTube. We're so glad you could have you with us today live or watching the video. We got a really interesting session today. We're going to put somebody on the hot seat and we're going to craft his 60-second miracle positioning script. I'm going to tell you all about that in just a few minutes, but I want to tell you a story. The other day, I was reminded of a really valuable lesson. I posted something on Facebook. Some of you may have seen it. And it's not the kind of thing I would typically post. But what happened was this. I read some words that somebody else had posted, and it was about the whole vaccine thing and for COVID. And I read those words that somebody else had posted, and it was a script that others have been posting, and it was share this if you want. So when I read the words, I thought, well, those words pretty accurately reflect my position. I'm vaccinated, and I don't talk about this to people. I don't talk about it to anybody really, except my family and maybe some close friends. And so I don't engage in these kinds of conversations out there in social media. But something compelled me. Something compelled me to take these words, modify them slightly, and give a little explanation. So I posted this thing on Facebook on my personal profile. And it basically said, this is my position on the vaccines. And I've got these words that I've found. They're not my words, but they, I like them because they reflect my thoughts pretty accurately. So here you are. And I put it out there. And I'd seen many other people post the same words. And I don't know why I felt compelled to do that. I just did. I think maybe I'm kind of at the point like many of us are where, we just want the world to know where we stand. And so then the responses started coming in, and I was really amazed because I got, a lot of positive responses that for people who have the same mindset as me. And then I got some adverse responses, which is excellent because I expect that and I invite that because I want to learn, about both sides. And I got some really good, productive, very excellent dialogue going on with a number of people. But in addition to that, I got some really angry ones. I got some very angry and people calling me names and blaming me for things and all of this stuff that I didn't actually expect. And so the reason I selected those particular words when I posted was because I felt that they reflected how I thought and how I feel about the whole vaccine thing without pointing fingers at anybody. Because as much as I believe in the vaccines myself, I also believe in everybody's right to choose according to what they accept as truth and according to what is best for them. And I support that wholeheartedly. And I didn't understand where the anger was coming from in this post. And then one person responded with a lengthy post, very well written, very professional and respectful, and really opened my eyes to look at my words a little bit differently. And when I looked at them from that person's perspective, I thought, you know what? I think she might actually have a point here. I could see if I was taking the alternate position where this could be construed as being not offensive so much, but oppositional. And so I removed the post. I removed the post because my mission is not to cause confrontation. My mission is not to upset anybody, or to oppose anybody. And so I put up another post and I said, hey, here's the lesson I've learned today. And so the lesson that I was reminded of, and I knew this lesson, I've learned it before, but this is one of those things that I didn't know what I didn't know at the time, right? So I posted a response. I took my original post down, put another one up, and basically I said, this is the lesson I'm reminded of, is that when I post things, or I say things, if I don't see that there is inherent or implied offense in there because of maybe poorly chosen words or an omission of words, just because I don't see it and I don't intend it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And I've had this situation before with some other things that I'm trying to understand in life. So I love this lesson because it causes me to really be much more careful with the words that I select, but in addition, the words that I omit. And I think that was a big problem with that post that I made. It really explained my position, but it didn't explain my openness and my dedication to other people's right to make an alternate decision. And that was omitted from the text. And I think that was a big cause. And so the other thing that happened was I opened it up with poorly chosen words. I opened it up with, I feel it's time for me to take my stand. And I think those words may have given a confrontational overtone to the message. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you only because it's a valuable lesson that I was reminded of this week. And as a professional communicator and as a person in somewhat a position of influence, I wanted you to know this because there might be some value in there for you. Okay, we're going to get on with our session today. Welcome, everybody. My name is Steve Lowell, and today we are going to put somebody on the hot seat. We have in the studio David Edward. And David is a longtime, very successful entrepreneur, and he's made a bit of a change in his business direction. Now, here's the situation. I know David, but I don't know very much about what this new direction is for David. David and I have not done this work before. We are both coming at this cold. He's not sure what to expect. I'm not sure what to expect. The only thing that we've done is we have agreed on a direction for this conversation. So I'm going to bring David into the studio so that you can meet him and have him say hi. Give me 1 second. There he is. David, welcome to our stream today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Steve. Hey,
We're so happy
want to say,
Yeah,
I just wanted to say, listening to your story, I thought that was so well handled, right? To
thank you.
Own the communications and the follow-up message, I thought was so appropriate and relevant for right now because, communications are critical, right, in this age of misinformation. Done, Steve.
Thank you for that. And I agree that communications is critical. And with that post that I put up, the recovery post, I've got a lot of support, as like your words, and thank you for those kind words. And I got some pushback as well. I shouldn't have taken it down, and I should have kept my stand, and those things. And what I think is, and maybe you have some thoughts on this, David. I think it's important that we that we stand for something. I think it's important that there are things in our life that we stand up for and that we stand for, because the old adage that if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And so I think it is important that we take a stand. But the question that comes to my mind is, as a person in a position of influence, and as a professional communicator, is it always right for us to claim our stand? Is it always right for us to make our stand, in public? And I'm not sure what the answer to that question is, because I've run into this before a couple of times. So do you have any thoughts on that?
I would have said yes if we were having this conversation about 3 years ago.
Okay.
But I feel like something has changed in the public discourse. And some of that is good. Some of that is, I think it's so inflamed and it's so emotional now that it's difficult. I think when people interpret your words as it's time for me to take a stand, it becomes almost this militant point of view, and you invite the opposite side as opposed to having the conversation, right? This is my opinion, this is my point of view. And I think we're missing something when we're not allowed, or we misunderstand, misinterpret our words, and we miss out on the discussion, and instead it turns into a shouting match. And we get into the
I agree. And
we take down. So it's difficult. I think it's important, though, that thought leaders like yourself do have opinions. And I think it's the lesson learned this week is we just have to find a way to present that opinion in a palatable manner that I think fits the kind of social norms of today.
Yeah, I agree with you, and thank you for that. And I think that was a big part of it, is that I chose my opening words poorly. So anyway, listen, let's move on, because we're going to do something really cool today. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to work on your 60-second positioning script. So a 60-second positioning script is this. It is, and hardly ever takes 60 seconds. It's usually much less than that. But it's an alternative answer to the question, what do you do? And most people, when they ask the question, what do you do? You get back a response like, well, I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, I'm a speaker, I'm a healer, I'm a something or and something. And what we want to do is we want to try and provide an alternate type response that sounds a little bit different from everybody else, but isn't one of those overly creative, flowery, artistic type responses. And again, I'm not saying that those are wrong. A lot of people do them, and a lot of people are very good at them, but not all of us are good at those flowery, artistic ones, and I'm certainly not. And so I've come up with this process over years and years and years of practice that gives an answer in less than 60 seconds that does an enormous number of things for you as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, David, and then we're just going to scroll this out. I'm going to get my flip chart and I'm going to build this out right in front of you. Okay, now the screen's cut in half, so I'm going to squeeze into the frame here. Now, folks, here's the other thing I want you to know is that we have this program, the 60-second miracle positioning script, and this is available to you, and it's all here. Everything we're going to cover is in here, and there's a training video that goes along with that. And if you would like to have that, all you do is go to the chat window in whatever forum you're in and just type, "Send me the script, please." And one of our team will reach out to you either immediately or in the next couple of days and get you the script. And then there's a training video that goes with it that is our gift to you, and it's in our private Facebook group. So to access the training video, we'll ask you to go through the button and click the Facebook group, but you can have the script as our gift to you for watching us today. Okay, David, I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions. Okay, so in the shortest form possible, tell us what you do.
I'm a planning consultant.
And what does a planning consultant do?
Businesses.
Okay.
I develop the strategic plan or the business plan for organizations, and that usually encompasses marketing, sales, and a little bit of organizational behavior as well.
Okay, got it. And what's the big problem you solve?
The biggest problem is unlocking potential in organizations. So they're looking for growth, and those growth avenues are often choked by different issues.
Okay, so let me paraphrase and tell me if I understand it. You work with organizations who are struggling to grow because their plans are not properly organized. Am I close?
You're close, yes. I think the issue is not that the plan is not properly organized, but the plans have become very traditional, and they lack fresh insight, new information for our changing world.
Okay, got it. So you work with organizations who are struggling to grow because their plans lack, what is it they lack? How can I put that? They lack what?
Dynamic or agile insight is the language that I use. So it's lacking that competitive advantage.
Okay, so if we simplify that just a little, so because their plans lack the insights to help them grow in the current market or the current economy or the current what? Okay, got it.
Yes, and in a current market, because it's changing so rapidly that is really that struggle is, how do I take my traditional plan and kind of force fit it into rapidly changing, evolving market? And therefore they're missing these opportunities.
Got it. Okay. So folks watching this, you can see how difficult this conversation could be. If this was in a network meeting or just at a social function and David is trying to explain what he does and I'm trying to understand it, this could be a very difficult conversation. So our job now is to take this conversation that we had and break it down into less than 60 seconds. So when I ask the question, so David, what do you do? Or tell me about your work, you have an answer that tells me everything I need to know in less than 60 seconds. David, would that be of value to you if we could do that today?
Be fantastic.
Okay, let's see what we can do now, folks. This is a hot seat, right? So we never know what's going to happen on the hot seat. But here we go. So, David, we're going to use a script, and we're going to fill in some blanks. In the script, I call it the 60-second miracle positioning script, and it does a whole bunch of things. In less than 60 seconds, here's what we're going to accomplish. We're going to establish your credibility as an authority in your field. We're going to get clarity, give the person clarity on exactly what you do, who you do it for, how you deliver it, what makes you different, and what they should do now. All in less than 60 seconds. And when I tell that to people, they go, there's just no way you can do that in less than 60 seconds. And we're going to give it a try. So I'm going to give you the key pieces here. I'm going to follow this 60-second positioning script. I want to get this so people can see it. There we go. Okay. Follow my script, follow my lead here. I'm going to ask you questions and I'll tell you what we're doing along the way. So the first line is this. David, how many years have you been in the business, or have you been an expert in this field?
30 plus years.
Okay, in my 30 plus years. Now, in your finish this sentence for me. In my 30 plus years of
building plans, creating
for
plans
whom?
For brands and businesses.
Okay, building what kind of plans?
Business plans or marketing plans.
Okay, so in my 35 years, and you might want to write this down because I might not retain all of this as we go, but here's what it is. In my 30 plus years of building business and marketing plans for large businesses and brands, am I close?
Yes.
In what geographical area? Canada, Ontario, Ottawa, Toronto, GTA, the world, where?
The world and national, so Canada.
Okay,
and,
got it.
Global.
All right, in my 30 plus years of building business and marketing plans for organizations and brands all over the world, are we close?
Yes.
Okay, now I want to bring a concept forward before we get hit with this. I want to talk about a concept between truth and accuracy. The concept of truth and accuracy is this. What we're going to build here is definitely going to be true. It must be, of course, but it doesn't have to be 100% accurate. So what may happen here, David, is as we're building this, you may say, well, yeah, but this, and it's not exactly that, and a little not, it also includes this. And these are all little outlier things that together make it accurate. So what we need to do is come up with something that is true within the confines of a reasonable amount of accuracy that is aligned with your integrity. So when I say close enough, or when I say true, I just want to know true, unless it's so inaccurate that it's not. Got it?
Right. Got it.
Got it. Okay, good. So here's where we are. In my 30 years plus of building marketing and business plans for organizations and brands all over the world, I have noticed that. And here's what we want here. I want a generalized statement of the big problem. I have noticed that so many organizations struggle to what?
They struggle with understanding the human potential.
No, I'm going to interrupt you there. That's a cause of the problem. They don't understand the human potential, and therefore they're struggling to accomplish what? Growth. So, okay, so they struggle to grow.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So in my 30 plus years of developing business and marketing plans for organizations and brands all around the world, I've noticed that so many organizations really struggle to grow.
Yes.
True? Good. And now, so that's one sentence, right? And here's what we've learned in that sentence. 30 plus years, business and marketing plans for company, businesses and brands all over the world who struggle to grow. We've learned all of that in a single sentence. It contains no ambiguity. It's very simple. And you could stop right there and people would understand it. Now, we're not going to stop there, but you could. Right? If somebody says, so David, tell me about your work. Well, in my 30 plus years of building marketing and business plans for organizations and brands all around the world, I found that so many organizations really struggle to grow.
Right.
Okay, that's the first sentence. Okay, now,
very true.
Now what we're going to do is go into the second section, and this is where you're going to introduce at a very high level what you do. Now, here's where so many people make a mistake here, David, is they think that this is an opportunity to sell. This is not an opportunity to sell, and you're not going to go into your solution, your 5 secrets, your 4 pillars, your unique program. You're not going to go into any of those. But here's how we're going to do this, okay? We're going to say, that's why I created or developed. So I'm just going to put developed a very unique what?
Planning and operating system.
Okay, system. Okay, so that's why I developed a very unique system specifically for who?
Business leaders and
Business
managers.
leaders. Okay, specifically for business leaders and managers. So here's where we are. In my 30 plus years of building business and marketing plans for organizations and brands all around the world, I've noticed that so many really struggle with growth. And that's why I developed a very unique system specifically for leaders and managers who are absolutely fed up with what?
Underperforming to their company's potential.
Who are absolutely fed up with underperforming. I love it. I'll just put UP here. And pardon my scribbles, folks. This is what happens when I write fast and my brain is going. It's all in here. So if you want a copy of this, we'll get that to you. Okay, with underperforming. So here's your entire script so far. So David, tell me about your work, or what do you do? Well, you know, in my 30 plus years of building marketing and business plans for businesses and brands all around the world, I've noticed that so many really struggle with growth. And that's why I developed a very unique system specifically for leaders and managers who are fed up with underperforming. So now you've got two sentences, and it tells you an enormous amount. Here's what it tells us. It tells us your experience. It tells us who you work with. It tells us what you do when you work with them. It tells us where you do it all over the world. It tells us what the problem is. The problem is growth. It tells us who the client is, who the target is, leaders and managers, and it tells us what the problem is. They're fed up with underperforming. All of that in 2 sentences so far. Yeah. Now, this is what we can, the next piece is where you're going to basically eliminate or disqualify your competition. Okay? So here's the next piece. I call this the comparator. And some people use this and some people don't. I like to. Unlike so many other. Now, what would you compare yourself to out there? So if I said, you know, David, tell me about how you compare to so many other, what? Is it so many other consultants, trainers, consultants? Okay, so unlike so many other, okay, got it. So let's do that. Unlike so many other consultants who still, what? What do they still do that you don't? What is an approach that they still take that you don't?
They use traditional tools and data to create their plan for the client.
Got it.
So
okay.
It's the consultant's plan, not the company's plan.
It's beautiful. So unlike so many other consultants who still use traditional data to create their plan for the client, now you've made it sound like it's so antiquated, like they're still using rotary phones, right? And they're still listening, you know, they're still listening to 8 tracks, right? I mean, you're putting them way back there in the Stone Ages, right? So unlike so many other consultants who still use, what were the words you used? Who still used
traditional tools and data.
Got it. Who still use traditional tools and data to create their plan for their client. I do what? What do you do that's completely different?
I coach the leaders and their teams.
Okay.
To create their custom plan.
Okay.
And an operations playbook.
Okay, got it. So we're going to simplify that a little bit. I coach leaders and managers to create a custom plan that is dynamic according to their market. Yes?
Yes. And it's unique to their organization, so it's their plan.
Got it. Okay. Here's where we are so far, and you're going to have to help me along if I miss some of the words, okay? So in my
You bet.
30 plus years of creating business and marketing plans for organizations and brands all around the world, I've noticed that so many organizations really struggle with growth. And that's why I developed a very unique system specifically for leaders and managers who are absolutely fed up with underperforming. And unlike so many other consultants who still use traditional tools and data to create their plan for their client, I coach managers and leaders to create a custom plan, that is a customized plan for their what?
For their own market.
For their own market.
Fits the needs of their market and their company.
Good. Okay. A customized plan that fits the needs of their market and their company. Okay. So now what you've got is a whole bunch of things in there that people are going to go, I mean, what is all that? How do you do all that? This is meant to design, it's designed to prompt for more information. And then there's the last thing, the CTA, call to action. If you think that you're speaking with somebody who could be a potential prospect, a simple call to action is, so listen, if you think you'd like to explore how we might be able to help your company grow, let's have a coffee and chat. So I want you to do this. Do you have a watch on, or do you have your phone with you?
I do.
I want you to time. Okay, tell me. I want you to time this. Okay, can you time me?
I can.
You say go, and I'm going to start. I'm going to do it in conversational tone, and let's see how long it is. Okay.
Okay. Go.
You know, in my 30 plus years of designing business and marketing plans for organizations all around the world, I've noticed that so many really struggle with growth. And that's why I've developed a very unique system specifically for managers and leaders who are absolutely fed up with underperforming. And, you know, unlike so many other consultants who still use traditional tools and data to create their own plan for their clients, I coach my leaders and managers to create a customized plan that meets the needs of their market. So if you think that we might be able to help you grow your business, why don't we have a coffee and chat? Stop. How long?
I'd hire you in a heartbeat, Steve. A heartbeat.
Oh, thank you. But how long was it?
That was 40 seconds.
40 seconds. Now, in 40 seconds, look at all the information that you've got in there, like an enormous amount of stuff. And so, does it sound like a lot for the question, what do you do? It does sound like a lot, and it feels like a lot when you're saying it. But what happens is it gives the listener every single thing that they need in order to determine whether or not you are worth talking to. So here's the thing. It's just a script, right? It's not a set of rules. It's not something that you have to do. You don't have to use all of it. Use some of it, use none of it, you know, whatever. I sometimes use the whole thing. Sometimes I use a part of it. And it depends on the situation. But when somebody comes up and says, so what do you do? Well, you know, here's what mine might sound like. I have about 1,000 of them, right? Depending on who I'm talking to. Let's say I'm talking to a speaker. Okay. And so, Steve, what do you do? Well, you know, in my 30 years of training professional speakers all around the world, I found that so many really struggle to separate themselves from their PowerPoint slides. And unlike so many, separates from the PowerPoint slides. And unlike so many other speaker coaches who still focus on memorizing and reciting a speech with PowerPoint slides, I work with speakers to get them away from their slides so they can be their authentic selves. So listen, if you like to learn how to separate yourself from your slides someday, why don't you and I have a coffee and chat? And that's one of many of them. And it sounds like a lot and it feels like a lot until you get used to it. And then it just becomes part of who you are instead of part of what you say. So my question to you, David, is do you think you could use what we've done today?
Absolutely. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. What I was going to say, Steve, is what I like about this format too is I feel like each of those sections that you ask me questions about allows me to sort of hang more information on it as soon as I get a question back. But
100%.
It's so easy for the person you're speaking to remember that, right? In 40 seconds, I picked up about 4 or 5 headlines. So when they ask me a question, then I can go back and kind of hang some of this information that I have that you were telling me at the beginning. Says, wait a minute, that's a cause, that's a cause. Let's keep it simple. But if I've got all that organized, you know, in my head, when they ask the question, then I can build that story out for them. So it's a great, very modular format that allows you to pack so much information into it.
Yep, good. Well, I'm glad you're seeing value in it. I hope you can use it. David, I want to thank you for stepping up today. I know you didn't have any notice. You didn't know what you were in for, but you're a real hero today. You've provided an opportunity for anybody listening to get some tremendous value. And I'd like you to let me know if you use this or if you refine it. I'd like to know, how does it work for you? Let us know how it goes.
I'll do that.
All right, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say goodbye to David. Thank you again, David. Thank you for being with us. And folks, hope you had a good session today. We hope you got some value out of this. And again, if you find that this is something that you might be interested in, just let us know in the chat window. Send me the 60-second positioning script, and one of our team members will get with you either right away or sometime in the next couple of days. As you know, we're always getting these from people who watch the videos. We'll get you the script, and there is a training video that goes with it. And to access the training video, we'll invite you to join our private Facebook group. Folks, that's a wrap for today. I'm Steve Lowell. Thank you so much for dropping by, and we'll see you again next time on one of our live streams. I think we're going to have to give this a name. If you've got a cool name for our live stream, let us know, because we do these regularly. We love doing them. We love bringing you value. Have a great rest of your day.